Good evening. Welcome to Rural America Live. I'm Tony St. James. From the dirt to the plate and every step in between. Specialty Risk Insurance, helping protect farmers and ranchers. And tonight, we'll take a closer look at who they are and how they're serving rural America. And what better way to kick off the show than to hear from Specialty Risk owner Kevin Charleston. Kevin, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show. And for those who don't know Kevin, give us a little background, your path, where you grew up, and how you ended up where you are today.
I don't know if we got all that much time, but we'll be close. I grew up about 10 miles from my office today. My mom and dad had a meat plant, and we had some little feed yard, and they were in the hog business back then as well. So during that time, when I was growing up, then I went to high school and into college, and went off for a few years and was rodeoing on the rodeo team, and came back and got married and trying to finish up college and got a job, and my wife sent my resume. That's really how I ended up in the insurance business. There was no grand plan there. It's just kind of how it worked out. And I'd bought and sold things my whole life, and it kind of worked with the insurance world. So that's kind of how I ended up in the insurance world. And then there's spent 17 or 18 years working in a couple other insurance agencies, and decided about 13 years ago I wanted to do my own. We kind of had a plan how I wanted to do it. Not really anything, just I wanted to be able to serve our customers in a little different way that I felt like they needed. And that's what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it that way. And so we kind of followed that path, and that's kind of led to where we're at today here.
Well, we're talking about specialty risk insurance, and you've kind of laid it out there, but let's really dig down now into the business and how it got started, 19 years ago?
13 years ago, yep. 13 years ago we started, there's three of us. We didn't have any contracts, had two or three folding tables and about 4 little offices down a hallway rented, and the platform has changed a little bit. We had a lot of customers at that point in time, but we've grown that. Our footprint now is all over the United States. We have about 100 people between 8 or 9 offices. Everybody, it's really nice to have the opportunity to work with people in the industry I grew up in and like to be in. And most of the people we have that work there, 85, 90% of them have an ag background, so you don't have to explain what you're calling about when you call about something in insurance. We do a lot of property and liability insurance, umbrellas. We have a whole segment on health insurance. I do a lot of safety, quite a bit of safety in HR to help our customers. Serve people in agriculture because they like to do what they like to do, and they don't like to do all those things. So,
I think you hit on a great point there, because if we're farming, we want to be on the tractor. We want to be harvesting.
Yep.
We don't want to spend all our time in the office. And if we're a cow-calf operation or feeders, we want to be out in it and doing it, not worrying about some of those details. So that's what you're saying, is you're there to kind of help with some of those details then.
Yeah, we live in their world, so we don't have to. We understand some of the pitfalls, maybe hopefully better than them ahead of time, not after the fact. So we talk to our customers a lot about the things that we see out there in agriculture. A lot of things have changed in agriculture in the last 4 or 5 years, and you'd be surprised the number of people that ask me about a legal thing or not just insurance. I mean, because we see so many different aspects of agriculture, it's always interesting. They want to know where we've been and what's been going on, or what we've seen, or what we know about the cattle in the market, or what the feed yards look like if I've been out in the feed yards the last week. And they're always wanting to know those, and we're part of it. So if the grain bins are full, or what we're hearing. And
I know that obviously you've got specialty risk insurance, but you're also a producer too, aren't you?
Yes, I keep several stockers, and then we keep a few cow calves around, depending on, I kind of moved into that more last fall, and I'm kind of glad I maybe missed a little the up and down the last week or two. But I'm still in there. I still have several, but not like I probably would have.
But that really gives you the ability to have skin in the game. You're not just providing a product. I mean, you're providing a product you could provide to yourself.
Right. Oh, yes. Yeah, I live in their world. So I would probably most days rather stay there, but that's just not how this really works.
Now, there are competitors out there, and
Yes,
I guess,
sure.
you know, look at what you're doing in comparison. What are some of the differences?
You know, the biggest things, we're boots on the ground every day. We answer our phone. You're not going to get an 800 number. We're not going to, if your barn's on fire, you're in a wreck, we're going to answer the phone. We're going to take care of it. I'm not going to tell you we don't have problems like anybody else has, but we're engaged. And we always kind of have that one of the sayings we talk about in our office is that if we don't service your policy, we're stealing from you because you paid us. So we feel like that we need to service at every level that we can and be involved with you in your operation. And sometimes we give you advice you don't like, and that's okay too. But at least we gave it to you, and you get to say no in advance. And we try and be ahead of things that we see out in the industry, and that's the important thing for us is to give that advice to our customers and try and let them know there's some pitfalls out there that are coming that we're seeing, and you know, a lot of things have changed out there in the world.
You mentioned changes. LRP. There are a lot of acronyms that we'll throw out tonight, but LRP, for those who don't know what it is, and why is it such an important piece to what you do?
Well, it's one of the things that we built a whole program around at our office, a whole sales approach to, because it's one of the things that the producers, small or large, can use to protect themselves against the market. And just like we've seen in the last 3 weeks, we had a lot of people about a month ago bought a lot of LRP contracts. I mean, a lot. And good for them, because the last year or so, year and a half, they hadn't collected on a lot of those. The markets just kind of went up and they paid their premium and went along. Well, they're in a really good spot right now with the changes we've had. And our job is to be, you know, I had a conversation with some guys in Nebraska 2 nights ago, and they're talking about buying LRP in their calves for next year for their unborn calves. That's a huge opportunity right now. That LRP lets us take advantage of a market a year in advance. That's a big deal, because before you would have had to buy a put or a call, you would have had to have had margin calls, potentially issues to work with. You know, you don't have to worry about all this with this product. You can actually buy it, put it to bed, and pay for it after it's used, or get a check if you win. I mean, if the market goes down and you're locked in at a higher level, you get the difference, and you go sell your cattle and move on with life. But it's not the complexity is for the everyday guy that's out there working, taking care of his cattle. He can put this to bed when he buys them, and he's good.
And I think the other thing that's interesting about insurance is there's so many different products there that might fit. You know, one piece might fit here, this piece might fit over here. I'm thinking pasture rangeland forage. You handle all of this, do you not?
We do. We try and be that we have a lot of different groups in our office that focus on and try to be experts in their field, because we don't think one person can be an expert in all fields. So if you call in, you're going to probably talk to one of 6 or 8 people we have in the LRP and the PRF as well. And 2 or 3 of them, that's all they do. That's all they think about all day long. They worry about that. They're on the phone at 4 in the morning because the LRP closes by 8:30 in the morning. PRF closing dates in December coming up here for most of the country. And, you know, what's the drought look like for you for the last 3 or 4 years? What metrics do you want to pick this year? And how do you want to look at that for next year? What's important for you those months when it does or doesn't rain, and how it fits your operation? So they're really focused on what your needs are. I mean, and when we've grown to a point now where we have different teams that are highly focused on what they do, it's so much easier to be a better servant to our customers.
Wow. Now, we've really focused on the actual producer side of this. Do you handle things that we might find in our communities, especially our smaller rural communities, Do you have products that are available, let's say, to a restaurant? I mean, are you in that
Yes.
business as well?
About 20% of our business would be Main Street business, or there's about three things we really focus on outside of that. We have Main Street offices, 4 or 5 of them. You walk in and you need your flower shop insured, or you need personal automobiles. We do that. We have teams for that as well. But then we do, one of our offices in Texas, we service a lot of oil field service people out of that. We do safety for those people as well. We do a lot of apartments. That's a big thing at this point in time. There's a lot of apartments out there. We really focus on that. And we do a lot of construction. Just, it fits our ag guys. Most of them have a construction company, have a farm or ranch, and they really flow back and forth. And so we have a great team to work with those people to all the different nuances of the different levels of construction.
Did you mention OSHA? I think you threw that one in there, and it really got me thinking, how many of us in business don't really know what to do or not to do when it comes to issues of OSHA, or I guess even HR. But you're solving that as well?
Yeah, it's a big thing. Hopefully we've done all the safety up front with our safety team so it doesn't happen. But things happen in agriculture. You're going to get hurt. If they didn't, I wouldn't have a job. And so at the end of the day, we really focus on that. So if you have a major incident, you call us. We're going to bring our OSHA team out there. We're going to help you walk through it. We're going to call OSHA for you. They're going to come out. We're going to walk you through that with them and hopefully mitigate the things that they see. Hopefully we can talk them through that process with them to help the customer, our customer, and OSHA come to an agreement on things that need to be fixed, don't need to be fixed, and you go through the process. And it's usually we get through it really well with OSHA. They've got a job to do, but our job is to help you, and our HR team's involved as well. It's always funny. Agriculture is can be a little bit emotional. Maybe if they're even working cattle, it gets really more emotional. But you've hired or fired somebody or done something, and you really need to think about that. We have a team to walk you through and help you, through that. And it's really important because that's not, again, like we talked about earlier, that's not your favorite thing. You don't want to deal with those kind of things. And we want our team to help you through that. I mean, hopefully we've done everything in advance and you don't have to do some of the other things, but it's the world we live in. It's a pretty emotional world in agriculture, and everybody's pretty aggressive and they work hard. And I mean, we want to be there to serve those people.
So if I pulled up to the office, I might see an American flag flying out there, but I also just wonder, do you have 6 other flags flying? Because you're not just in one state anymore.
No, we don't. But
the 6 flags of insurance, not real. But the idea here is you're in multiple locations, multiple states, right?
We are. We have 4 offices in Missouri, and then we have an office in the Oklahoma City Stockyards. We just opened one in Sweetwater. We're working on one in Weatherford right now with a partnership with Ben Emerson Insurance down there. We have an office in Fairfield, Texas, which we've had for 7 or 8 years over by Buffalo, Texas. I refer to it as East Texas. They tell me it's still Central Texas whenever I talk to them. But those guys all work, different people out of all those offices to serve our customers. We have a guy in Arizona, Cave Creek. He's got a little office out there, but he services a lot of agriculture out there, the dairies. And then we don't have an office in California, but we're out there about every 4 to 6 weeks working with the dairies and the feedlots out there as well.
Okay, we're covering a lot of ground here. And earlier I threw out some acronyms. Let's see, I had LRP, pasture range, PRF, pasture range. Sure. LGM?
LGM is a product that is becoming more popular pretty fast. And LGM, it gives you the opportunity if you're going to have cattle on feed, to lock in your fat cattle price, your feeder cattle price, and your corn. And it's all driven off the market. So once you lock it in, they have times they lock in and fall, but you don't have a margin call on any of it. So if any one of the 3 factors change and you lose your profitability, you get paid. And that's a very simple version of it because it's way more complicated than that. But we have people that can explain that way better than me in our office. But it's a huge product that we really believe is going to work more into the feed yard industry over time, because the margin calls that people had to make in the last year and a half have been atrocious, almost as much as the cattle at some point, and maybe not quite that much, but probably half the value of the cattle at some point when they bought them. So it's a great product. You know margin calls at the end of the day. You either get paid at the end or you pay the premium at the end, after the fact. So it kind of lets you. Those products have helped in agriculture, especially in the livestock industry. We've needed some help like that through the years to help. We got to maintain this industry so we can get through the ups and downs for the youth to come through this, and more people to be attracted to get in.
Dirt to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned that earlier. Where did that come from?
It did. We worked with a company called Nationwide Insurance Company. In fact, I just got back. I was up there at corporate office the last couple of days with them. And that was one of the early things they adapted or started talking about, and we kind of copied it and followed along with it. But we do work from if you've got 10 acres and a house and 2 calves, we help you. And we have lots of people with 15, 20, 30,000 stockers we do help people with, to the sale barn, to the feedlot, to the packing house. We work with all those people involved in that from start to finish. And there's probably not any part of agriculture we don't touch. We work with a lot of stuff that's getting shipped overseas all the time. There's just really not any part of agriculture that we don't touch in some way or another.
This is amazing. I'm having a great time, but we do have to take a break. And when we come back, we'll pick the conversation up as well. And we'll dive into specialty risk insurance and the experience there. What sets them apart and how their culture, values, and service-driven approach make a real difference. Stay with us. Rural America Live continues right after this. Welcome back to Rural America Live with Specialty Risk Insurance. You know, we've talked about who they are and what they do, but now it's time to explore the specialty risk experience, from their strong culture and core values to a service-first approach. Working with Specialty Risk Insurance offers a level of care and commitment you won't find anywhere else. We're back now with Kevin Charleston, owner of Specialty Risk Insurance, and joining us now, Philip Solom. Philip, so good to see you. Let's get you introduced now, and instead of me just reading off your bio, tell us a little about you.
So I moved to Missouri 31 years ago from Wisconsin. My brother and I had a very nice sales business in the Western industry. Kevin was our insurance agent for 15 years, basically. So we had this relationship prior to me becoming part of Specialty Risk. Some things changed in my life. I got diagnosed with cancer. Didn't know what to do. He hired me about halfway through my chemo treatment, so that tells you a little bit about that, huh? Not many people gave me that job at the time, but that was 9 years ago. I enjoy it. Kind of had the same thought pattern in my other previous company. I was with Cinch Jeans, that's one of the names I was with, on what he wanted to do for his customers and what we try to do for ours. I think I was the 13th employee hired at the time. And it's been extremely fun, lots of growth, lots of good people, and kind of all focused in the same direction. And
You know, I'm kind of curious here, though. You can see this from multiple angles. The customer experience side, how important is that to what you do?
well, so that's why Kevin started his own business. I had great customer service. When I was with Kevin and he was with his other prior agent, I had good customer service, but it really related because he was in the horse business and I was in the horse business and we were friends, similar ages and things like that. The key is, how do you take that to everybody? How do you get all these people and what their expectations are in business. The reality is we sell the same insurance as the next guy. So how can we win your business and keep it? And I would say for the first 4 or 5 years, we did everything in our power to win and meet and exceed your expectations. And then probably about 7 years ago, we decided we have to just set standards on what we are going to do. Don't let the outside world noise take us. And we said, I called it the Charleston way at the time. Now we don't call it that anymore, but it's a standard. Your policy is just as important as his, and we set these standards, and we try very, very hard to follow them. We're always trying to tweak them. We're always trying to upgrade them. The customer is really the one that pays us our paycheck. And I don't think there's anybody that could say in 5 years they've called Specialty Risk and the phone call's not ended with, we appreciate your business and thank you.
I'm just kind of curious, though. You describe my business might be as important as somebody else's with a bigger policy. Have there been any instances, though, where you've had to say, oh, we might not be able to help you here, whether it's a price point or something that a customer needed?
Yeah, so Kevin has, and he can speak to this. So this is something that we're dealing with right now, and we just went through it in the last 12 months, maybe the last 16 months. We have several thousand customers. So we have a lot of what we call Main Street business customers that have $10,000 policies around there. We developed a whole program for them. Our whole section of our business is called Select. And we wanted to give them the same treatment as everybody else got. We didn't feel like we were. So we went out and invested. He went out and invested this money, time, effort, and Quincy put this program together. And obviously he can talk about the success.
What's been, as we've grown and we've acquired some offices, we've acquired a lot of customers that have come along, but we want to make sure that they're being touched every quarter at a minimum. They're being talked to. And we had a lot of agents that they're still working with, but they didn't have a lot of things change throughout the year. So it was a little bit of a quiet, and we were just a little worried. We didn't feel like we were getting them what they needed. And then the last about 60 days, we've got that realigned because we felt like those customers we were not doing our job at the level we need to be doing for them. So that's just one of the things that we realigned in our business to make sure that they're being serviced, because they pay us the same as anybody. Their money's the same as large, small, in between. And those customers matter. Those are what we've been founded on our service and please and thank you, and we appreciate your business. There's something you're going to hear every day in our office, no matter whether you have one car insured or 300.
I'm also kind of wondering, what you're describing is really going above and beyond. Is that a safe way to describe what you do?
Yeah, we were just
above and beyond.
We were talking on the way down here today. So we have a customer that is a large landholder in the city of Joplin, non-agriculture person, by the way, owns commercial property. She gets in an accident. She calls me on my cell phone. She gives the phone to the person that she hit and just says, Philip will take care of everything. No need to call me. That lady called me. I said, hey, take 5 minutes, take a break, just let everything cool down. The customer that was that got hit, she said, do you do that for everybody? And I said, well, if they call us, we will. I mean, our point is to help you. We're designed to take care of you in your time of need, or if you need questions about your billing. And this lady, she didn't know what company she was insured with. She just knew she was a customer of Specialty Risk. She didn't know. When you call, you get his cell phone. It's the same one his wife has. It's the same one my wife has. We don't have 800 numbers. We don't have people answering the phone for us.
And our claims are really, really good. We have a great claims team, and we have our own claims team. We still have to work with adjusters, but we have our own in-house claims team. One of them grew up in a feed mill. That was his whole life. when he was younger. The other one grew up around the car business. So we got two people who can really balance out managing those claims at that time. Whenever you got to walk through it, and we got to help you through what's going to happen. And so everybody take a minute, breathe. We're going to get this fixed. It'll be fine. When we get to the end of it, it will be fine. There's going to be parts of every major claim. We go out and talk to people, and we got to relieve them. It's going to be fine. We got this. Just relax. We got a house that just burnt down, a barn that just blew down, or a plant that just burnt, and 50 people that work there standing out there without a job for a minute. We will figure this out. We can get through this, and as long as we've done our job in the beginning, we got the customer to sit down and talk to us about what their needs are and what their expectations are, and we give them good advice, and they can make a choice to cover or not to cover. Then we can walk through that claims process, and no matter whether it's covered or not, we still have a claims team to help you through it.
Sure.
And that's important. I mean, we're going to be there all the way through from beginning to end when there's a problem. So that's
our story is really like your guys's. Patrick Gotch had this passion or reason to start this show. And what has really made this show grow is he's found the right people for the right place. He didn't care who CNN hired or who Fox hired or what they were even covering. He didn't care. Our philosophy is we're so focused on ourselves and building this team and this culture and taking care of the customer. If we can keep the outside noise off, we don't care.
So I'm glad you said that, because you said came from a feed mill, right? Mm-hmm. You had somebody that came in from a feed mill. How do you take people with different cultures, different backgrounds, and how do you help them be a part of who you are and delivering the customer service that you expect?
It's really simple for us. I mean, especially for me and him. But I can't make a spreadsheet. So the truth is, about a feed mill, we break down every single item they have insured, so we can tell you how many cents on a dollar their insurance is covering for a piece of equipment. I'm not especially at Excel. I'm not good at it. But I got 8 people sitting there helping me that do it. I'm just the one out here presenting it. So he's developed this team around me to support us that has just knowledge on each and every place. Not everybody's an expert, but we have this group of individuals that specialize to help our customers and help me get them organized.
It takes time when we bring those people in like that and train them. It takes 2 years at a minimum. And it takes about a year before they really, about 8 months, 6 to 8 months before they start grasping our culture. We do things a lot different. I'm not going to count your vacation. I'm not going to worry about, we do a lot of things that we're probably not supposed to do that way, but you work, we pay you. I love interviewing college kids. They want to talk to me about a package, and I go, you work and we pay you. That's the program. But I said, you'll fall in here and like it, because we had a meeting last Monday. It was really, we had our sales team talking about we're doing a book with Alden Mills right now and working on some team building, and we were sitting there talking. Part of the younger crowd said they love to come to work because they like each other. They enjoy each other. So when we get young people to come in and they're part of it, and they bring more young people just like them in, it gives us an opportunity to really grow, because we've got 30 people under 30 years old. That's a pretty strong group of kids to bring along in the industry, but we got to get them in. We got to get them, teach them the culture and teach them insurance. And it's a 2-year process to see if they're really, and then they kind of dive in and they start working their way through, and they get better and better every day. So.
Again, this culture that you have developed here, it seems like it's pretty infectious as people come in and they get that buy-in. Let's try to find a situation where you went really above and beyond. Maybe you managed something in a unique way. I'm just wondering, is there any situation, any claim, any call that you can look back and say, wow, we really knocked that one? I know you're not trying to toot your own horn, but where you go, you know what, we really knocked that one out of the park.
Well, we had the largest single claim in the history of the feed yard. It's the single largest claim in the history of a feed yard in one day. It's the historical flood in Hereford, Texas. So by far, without question, it was our best. It was especially risk, I'm not going to say proudest moment, but without question, it was our best. We had a plane on the ground the next day with our claims guys. We had 3 or 4 people there for the first week. We sent a couple home. We bought every single piece of scuba gear we could possibly buy to help remove the cattle. We worked with the Texas Cattle Feeders Association. Kevin flew down twice. Actually, Kevin was in London on a meeting with the insurance company when it happened, but Kevin flew back, went down there so he can explain that. But by far, we had the greatest. Our team was, it's the proudest moment I have for him because it's 500 miles away. It's a multi-million-dollar claim, multiple things in place, and we had a check to him in 2 days. Partial check to him in 2 days.
Yeah. Took a little bit to finish all the details up, but yeah, our group was down there. They never let up, and Tony Atkins and Mike Berry were down there the next day. We were in the middle of it, helped them through it. Lots and lots of dead cattle to get taken care of. Getting warmer by the day. Got to be pretty quick. We felt like at the end of the day that we were able to help somebody continue their business, get through a terrible moment in their life.
Well, how important is it? You've described 2 different things here. You've described the actual loss, but there's an emotional toll that goes with that. How do you help manage that as well? Is that a safe question to ask?
We have a lot of and early on when Phil first came there, I told him that he would have some of that. And when you walk up there and they're just basically in tears, their whole life's on the ground. And you have an opportunity to help them right there and put them at ease. Like, look, relax. We got this.
Well, the truth is,
it's going to be fine.
Mike Berry, our claims guy out from Texas there that did the cattle one, interesting part you bring that up. I think about it. So he went to Oklahoma, or he went to Texas for 2 or 3 weeks to handle this major, devastating flood claim. And I think it was about 2 weeks later, he was in West Texas and Oklahoma for the fires. So he said, I went from one extreme to the other. It was just a matter of a couple of weeks that we went from floods in one region to fires in another. But I guess we're prepared for it. We've got, once again, it's the people. We got the people in the right spot. It's we've got the best people around.
And I guess, again, between the floods and the fires, you're talking about 3 hours apart between the 2 of them. 150 miles
right.
or 200 miles away, and you're managing both things.
Yeah.
Well, and we're set up for that, though. We're all over the country. We got claims going on every day, and it's a little bit of chaos sometimes, but that's what we thrive on. We like that part. That's the fun part, is being able to just, they know we're going to get it taken care of. We get in the middle of it, and we got a great team that does it, and they don't flinch when it's go time, and they're in there. There's been a lot of mornings we've had to leave at 3 or 4 for a claim, and they're all in the middle of it. We had a major accident out not far from there a few months ago, and I'm going to say we found out at noon, and by 1:30, she's our kind of our in-house adjuster for OSHA and then for work comp claims, and she got in the truck, was there met me at the office an hour and a half later. We got her in a truck, and she was there in the morning bright and early at the hospital, making sure things are taken care of, engaged with the families to make sure they understood what was going to happen, the process, talked to them all the way down there, spent 2 days working with them, got things, everybody was relaxed when we left, on the right path. The person was going to get healed up. We had the doctors lined up. That's the opportunity to really help somebody. That's when it's it's game time. Hopefully we've done all the work and talked to them up front. The coverage is right, and we kind of sit down and talk to us. And we will frustrate some customers because we will walk away sometimes when they want to buy something that we don't think is appropriate, and we'll just step back and say that's okay, but I just don't think you're a fit for us, and we've got to make sure that, because we don't want to be short when it's that time.
I'm going to throw this out. It's me saying it, so correct me if I'm wrong. You're doing business for other people the way you'd want business done for you. Is that
That's exactly why I left and started what we have today, because I want to be, and we did a really good job there too. So don't misunderstand, but there's some things I want to add to it. Just was my vision. Nothing wrong with that. And it just, and when I say a lot of people have followed along. We've got a really good group of people that jump in there, and it's worked well. They do a good job, and was never a plan to have this many people or be this size, but we've tried to figure out how to replicate it and just keep replicating what we're doing, and it's working well.
Tell you what, this has been amazing. So whether it's a phone call or a face-to-face conversation, Specialty Risk is committed to being there when you need them, right? So we do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, how about we talk about growth and how Specialty Risk is adapting to meet the changing needs of both customers and the industry as well. For Rural America Live with Specialty Risk Insurance, right after this. Welcome back to Rural America Live. We're joined by our friends from Specialty Risk Insurance. And we all know ag is constantly changing, and that makes innovation and leadership more important than ever. Specialty Risk Insurance understands that, and they're taking action to meet the evolving needs of both their customers and the industry. So let's jump right in and see how they're doing it. We welcome back the owner, Kevin Charleston, and someone I think you kind of know, probably known her, her entire life?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
about 30 years. Yeah.
Quincy Atwood. Quincy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, tell us a little background and why he might know who you are and your pathway here.
Yeah, it's fun. So I call him Dad, right? Kevin during the day, but Dad, I call him Dad during the day too. So been at Specialty Risk. I just actually turned 30 this year. So I keep track of how long he's been in the business because he got his license the week before I was born. So it's pretty simple for me for that side. But I did what every 18-year-old said they would do and said I wouldn't work for my dad and I was going to move away and do all the things. And I did that for a little bit. And I was so thankful that I changed my mind and came home, and I met my soon-to-be husband and came back. I went to Texas State in San Marcos and interned at an agency down there, and I stayed there for about a year and a half, started to be interested in what was going on in the insurance industry and wanted to go home and give it a try. And I just finished my 7th year at Specialty, and I'm so thankful to be part of the journey.
You mentioned Texas there. Mm-hmm. You've got some offices in Texas, and you're growing there. I'm curious, what's led to the growth?
I don't think it's any big secret. And I think he's done such a great job, and we've tried to just continue to replicate that. We keep it pretty simple. We say please, we say thank you, we appreciate your business, and we try to do it now. It's not a grand scheme. It's just trying to keep it simple. And unfortunately, in our world, people remember when you say thank you because they don't hear it a lot. And trying to ask what their expectations are. You can't meet an expectation when you have never asked what it is, and then trying to live up to what you said you were going to do.
I'm so glad you said the expectation part, because how often are we upset, but yet we never took the time to say, this is my expectation for you, or for this relationship, or for this business relationship that we have. So how do you get to that point to where you find out what the expectation is? Is that a safe question to ask?
From the customer side or from?
Yeah, from the customer side. How do you help that customer vocalize what's important for them?
Absolutely. Do you want to talk on that?
Well, one of the things that's important is because we might know before they know, what they need, but we have to get them to talk about it. And we walk them through the scenarios, and they're like, this is what I need, this is what I don't need at the end of the day. And when we do that, we get the customer to start talking about expectations and their needs. And it's work. You got to sit down and get them to talk to you, because most people in agriculture don't like to stop. They don't want to talk to an insurance guy. And so you got to figure out what they really want, what they don't want, and then tell them what their options are, and then they can make those choices, and we're good with that, just so they have informed choices. And
I think there, obviously that can be a challenge. You've learned how to do that. Have there been some other challenges along the way as you've grown this business?
Absolutely. I mean, going from 3 people 13 years ago to over 100 today, obviously hiring is always a journey, right? And we bring on a lot of people that are green to the insurance industry as a whole. I would say most of our people have some sort of agriculture or athletic background, not all, but a lot do. And so they have a team mindset and the work ethic that's needed. We work in a very fast pace, but it's a journey. I mean, and hiring is always a journey. And trying to find people, we very much understand that we're not a fit for everyone, and that's okay. We are a fit for who we are, and we've created a culture that we want to protect. And to do that, we've got to have people moving towards that same goal.
Okay. I fly some, and the airline that I fly used to be a smaller airline. And as they have grown, they've lost some of that flair that I really enjoyed in the early days. And I just wonder, can we apply that to this as well? How do you keep those things that have set you apart in the past? How do you keep those things fresh as you continue to grow bigger?
One of the things we say a lot is you have to continue to say it, and continue to say it until they repeat it back and say, whoa, I got it, right? Because how fast we can lose those things, those culture, those, even the simple things like, please, thank you, we appreciate your business. We've got to continue to say them daily. And we have created team leads across, they've mentioned departments, and we've got our departments are comprised of about 10 departments. And each of our departments has a team lead that's responsible for reintroducing that culture every day and reminding, having the wins and the losses, talking through, this went really well. And this is a growing opportunity. This is what we got to do better. Understanding everyone's human and we're going to make mistakes, I promise that. But we are going to be your partner and walk alongside through that, whether you work with us as an insured or a partner or if a staff member too.
I've noticed something kind of interesting. I'm from a very small town with one stoplight. And if you want to go to a Walmart, you're 30 plus miles away. That's rural America.
Yes, sir.
And you get to the city and things are a little different. And what I might expect, looking people in the eye as I pass them, hi, good morning, and it's not the same. I just wonder, how are you able to keep that small town feel with your clients as you continue to grow as well?
Absolutely. And how people want to communicate is changing too, right? As we've got so many different generations in the workforce, people want to communicate different ways, and how can we meet them where they are? And so I think it's understanding the generation and who you're talking to, of coming to meet them where they want to be, and not trying to create a cookie cut process that only works for one demographic. We want to be able to just, if we're going to sit down and you want to meet at a coffee shop or at the farm or wherever, then let's do that. Or you want to jump on a Zoom call, we're down for that too. So, yeah.
So and again, I'm intrigued by how you're growing your business, Kevin, and you've got these different locations that may all still be within the same time zone. But how do you keep everybody on the same page, and how do you make sure everybody's rowing in the same direction, if you will?
If you step too far left or right, our group will, maybe by public shaming or whatever they have to do, they will bring you back to the center, because nobody wants to undo what we've done. Everybody's involved and invested, engaged in what's going on. And so it doesn't matter if you're in Arizona or if you're we got people probably in any 1 week in 7 or 8 states, people out working, calling on customers. if you don't follow what we see as what we do and how we do it, they'll tell you, and they'll tell you quick. And they're not going to call me. They're just going to take care of it. But typically don't have too much because they'll buy in after a period of time or they won't. And then we both have to make those decisions at that point. But we don't have much of that. Our turnover is fairly low at this point in time. Got a lot of young people, a lot of growth, and they're aggressive and have a lot of energy. You got to be ready for them on Monday morning because it's go time when they get there. And it's fun to be around that because it makes me feel younger when I get around them. It gives me more energy and makes me go harder. And I like that. And we got some people, but I'm the fourth to the oldest person there, and I'm 55. So that's a pretty young group of people in the day and age in agriculture. In most industries in agriculture today, youth is the hardest thing. It seems to be our easiest thing at this point. It'll change. We'll shift again. But I had my other daughter's wedding was last weekend, and I spent 20 minutes there talking to people that wanted to come to work, which is great. I was grateful to have those conversations because we're always excited to find people that we can bring in and make part of what we're doing and find the future. And to your point a minute ago, when we walked in somewhere, we would communicate differently than they would. And I've had to learn to find balance in that because if you don't look me in the eye and I speak to you in the morning, we're going to work on that quickly. And if you walk into our office, I promise you, if you're in the front of our office, if you're there over 5 minutes, 5 people have asked you if you've been taken care of, even though the one person is taking care of you, went to find somebody to get them what you need. But that's how we think and how we all follow. So wherever you're at, they fall in. They find our culture pretty quick.
Well, and one of our standards is to say the hard thing and holding each other accountable in those moments, to be willing to step out and say, hey, that's not how we do it here, is very much an expectation. And so that comment, or if maybe you've got a disagreement and you come to us and say, hey, this is what's going on, well, the conversation is just as much, okay, yeah, we need to handle that, but hey, did you address it in the moment? Because both are living up to the standard. We very much believe in that.
So Kevin and I, I'm older than you, but not by much. We did not grow up with a computer in our pocket or in our hand. We had bag phones as we got older. The next generation has grown up with them. How are you able to take advantage of some of this and help your teams communicate?
Absolutely. Technology is, we try to be as very technology focused and making sure we're staying up with trends, right? That we know we're giving our customers what they need and giving them the tools. We understand that not every customer wants those tools, but we have them there available for the ones that do want them and try to be able to service them at those levels.
What, looking ahead, and we've been talking about the past, we've been talking about the present, but let's look into the future now. What do you see?
I think I could see more of the same. We've really agriculture's always been the focus, but a very intentional focus of getting involved with agriculture on every level. How can we serve the industry that we love and we want to protect? And none of us eat without it, right? And so how can we continue to be involved and in building a place? The only long-term goal Specialty Risk has is building a place you would want your kids to work. And that may not be your physical children, but when you're fulfilled in what you do, you find value in what you do, your family sees that, the people around you see that, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. So continuing to do that and understanding we're serving something greater than ourselves and keeping that at the forefront.
Now, you've been proactive. Everything you've said up to this point is you're proactive. So being proactive, not just, reacting to the risk, if you will, but how do you work that mindset into things as well?
From an industry perspective, we try to stay very in tune with what's going on, whether that's conferences, staying with publications, you guys, things like this. We try to be in the know of what's happening with those to help be prepared for our customers and for our agency. With technology, obviously there's been so much conversation with AI, right? AI isn't what is coming anymore, it's here, and how are we going to use it? And so we've been strategic in how are we training our staff and what are our expectations and use for that? How can we tell our customers and being prepared for those? I mean, cyber has been a conversation for, I feel like, the last couple years, but very prevalent in today's conversation. And just trying to stay in tune, through those different resources and avenues the best way we can to be a service.
I think over time, Kevin, we build our legacy as we go. It's not something you get to the end of the road and say, okay, now here's my legacy and here's what I want. You're building it day by day by day by day. But when you think about the legacy, what do you want the legacy of specialty risk insurance to be?
That it continued and forgot all about me. Never looked back, and the future, it went right on. That's a very simple way to say it, but if we do a good job, the momentum will take it right on through. And that's the best part. If we can get that done and continue to bring kids in agriculture there, that's part of what we do. I think that's the thing that's been missing for a long time in our world. And hopefully we can do that.
Okay, before we go, how important is technology as we try to find specialty risk? You're online, I know that, because there's no way you're not online,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Specialty Risk Insurance Agency, or specialtyrisk.com, you'll find us. But we're on all of the technology platforms. You can find all of our social media is very active. We try to give, good resources, good content of not only what's going on with specialty, but the industries we serve.
Okay, and when you look down the road, what do you want to see in the next chapter?
Yeah. I want to go back to what he said is legacy. I mean, he's the greatest servant leader you could find in that example. So, sorry. But
It's good.
yeah.
It's good because working with family can be a challenge. But at the same time, and you told me this earlier, that the first generation builds it, right?
Yep.
And the second generation comes.
Enjoys that.
And then the third generation.
Destroys that.
And you're working to make sure that never happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And trying to raise our children. I have 3 children. That my husband and I raise them to know how blessed they are and to know what it means to serve that. And the agriculture industry as a whole exemplifies the servant mindset so well. What we do, our animals can't provide for themselves. That's why they need us, and continuing on with that legacy.
All right, Kevin, before we go, we've just got a few seconds here. Final thoughts before we go. What do you want people to remember about specialty risk insurance?
It's a great opportunity for us to help you. You let us sit down and talk to you about your needs. Remember that we will come to you. We will help you. We'll walk you through your coverages, what you do or don't need, and then hopefully you never need us. It'll be the best thing that ever happened. But when you do, when that day comes, we're going to be there for you.
All right, Kevin Charleston, Quincy Atwood. We had Philip Solem earlier. Specialty Risk Insurance Online, specialtyrisk.com. Good night.